Hey everybody, we're back, and court is in recess because there was a huge hullabaloo that just happened. Not really sure what happened, but we're gonna find out. Renosuke is like, what the hell just happened? Mr. Naruhodo, I managed to find out what happened. Good, tell me. I was told it was an advanced form of smoke grenade, a type of exploding device that releases smoke. Yes, that's what a smoke grenade does. I mean, it sounds like the sort of thing ninjas use. They're just making sure everything is safe now. I think the trial will start again before long. But who would have done something like that? The police managed to catch someone who was trying to flee the courtroom, apparently. Flee the courtroom? Why? Well, it's a young girl of around 15, I hear. A young girl? Then could it be the other passenger that Mr. McGilded was just talking about? My thoughts exactly. So he wasn't lying. Oh, what became of Mr. McGilded, actually? There are so many things I need to ask him about, but he's not here. I think he was summoned to the prosecutor's antechamber to answer questions, but he's my client. I need to talk to him. What the hell's he doing over there? Along with the young girl. Who is she, I wonder? What was she even doing here at the trial? She was taking a huge risk, and for what possible benefit to herself? There's another matter that's troubling me. What's that? The 20 pence. Oh, according to the coachman, Mr. Beppo, he took 4 passengers that night at a fare of 5 pence each. That comes to a total of 20 pence exactly. But now it seems there were in fact 5 passengers, which means the figures don't seem to add up again. She's right, that is strange. Counsel for the defense, kindly proceed to the courtroom. The trial will recommence in 5 minutes. Oh, thank you, officer. We'll go in straight away. Well, whoever she is, I imagine this young girl will be asked to take the stand and testify now. Right, because that's how court works. I really can't imagine what she's going to say, but it could alter the whole direction of the trial. Well, that's the premise of the game. We'll know soon enough, Mr. Sato. Yes! Fun. 18th February, 1 p.m., the Old Bailey courtroom. There's the young girl next to Mr. McGilded. Look. She must have been the one who caused the disturbance before. Clack. Well, after that rather eventful recess, the court will now resume the trial of Mr. Magnus McGilded. Now then, Lord Van Zeeks. My lord. I believe you have established the cause of the smoke which veiled proceedings earlier. It seems to have been an advanced form of smoke grenade, of the sort typically employed by the army. Good gracious, the army? What in the devil's name? Was an elaborate attempt by a young girl to cloak her escape from the public gallery, but she was caught, and now occupies the stand. Your name, girl? Are you responsible for the smoke grenade which induced such pandemonium here in my courtroom? What is the meaning of this deplorable behavior? Ahem. If I may, my lord. I'm already rusty on that guy's accent. It'll take a minute to come back to me. I think perhaps I ought to explain here. There we go. Why is it that this wee lass was here in the first place, and why she tried to bolt like that? 'Tis all tied up with the events of that night, so it is. Clack. Very well, Mr. McGilded, give your testimony. You will explain to the court exactly how this young woman is involved in the case. And Zeke's as stoic as ever. Just what did happen that night? It's not like a defense lawyer needs that information or anything. Witness testimony. On the night in question, I took the back seat in the omnibus and promptly nodded off. Then, begorra, a loud thud and a wee scream woke me up with a fair start. There was a fella collapsed on the floor at me feet, so I sat him up on the seat across from me. Then I turned to find where the scream had come from, and bless my soul, what did I find? There was a child in there, all curled up in a ball, hiding her wee self away. I remain somewhat baffled, I confess, but from what I gather, on the night in question, this young girl was indeed riding in the omnibus. Is that correct? 'Tis exactly as the defense counsel said. The lass was the fifth passenger, my lord. Clack. Very well. The defense may now cross-examine the witness. Are you ready, counsel? Yes, my lord. Or rather, no. I have no idea where to start. He's just taking his time. On the night in question, oh wait. I'm gonna press on these. And when you first got onto the omnibus, were there any other passengers already on board? There were not. The cabin was empty and there was no one on the roof deck either. You were the first passenger, as it were? I see. Aye, that's why I took the back side as I did. 'Tis the most comfortable, so it is. Could you explain exactly what you mean by the back seat? By all means. 'Tis how you already described it earlier. I'm talking about the seat opposite the one in which the poor gentleman was stabbed was sitting. Like I said, 'tis the most comfortable, where I feel most at ease. And of course, I'd enjoy gazing through the skylight from time to time as well. Then begorra, a loud thud and a wee scream. Oh wait, I gotta go back. I advanced what I meant to press.
Hold it!
There we go. Hold it! A loud thud, you say? And a scream? Aye, that's right. How can I explain it? It was like the sound of someone falling to the ground. That sort of noise. So you think it was the sound of Mr. Mason falling to the floor, having been stabbed? Well now, you'll remember I was asleep at the time, so I wouldn't like to say. When the sound woke me up, I opened my eyes. There wasn't a soul to be seen in the carriage, but the fella on the floor. I'm losing that accent. You didn't see anyone? But at the same moment, you did hear a scream. Ah, from the seat above you on the roof deck, on the roof deck, I presume. Not above me, no, my lord. 'Twas from inside the cabin. But I wasn't altogether thinking about the scream. No, I was too stunned by the desperate sight before me eyes. There was a fella collapsed on the floor at my feet, so I sat him up in the seat across from me. You shouldn't have even touched the body. What are you doing? You sat him up, the victim, you mean? That I did. On the seat across from me, as I said. I could plainly see the poor devil was already gone. And you wouldn't leave a dead man just lying on the floor now, would you? 'Tis common courtesy, so it is. Find that a little hard to believe. Ora, Lord Van Zieks, now why would that be? You wake to find a man lying dead at your feet in a carriage. Any normal person would hail the cabman. Any upstanding member of London society, that is. Well now, as you know, I'm in something of a special line of business. The business of lending money at exorbitant rates of interest. Unfortunately, my lord, not everyone is thankful for the help I offer them, and some would even see me dead. So I do try, when at all possible, to avoid getting myself in a tangle with trouble. Are you suggesting that you were just going to leave the man there? Heavens alive, no. I was always intended to report it, so I was. Only, I had a mind to find out the whys and wherefores first. The whys and wherefores? Right you are. There were some details I wanted to understand before anyone else got to meddling. That wee scream I heard, for example. Wouldn't your good self do just the same? Yes, the scream he says he heard at the same time as the thud of the victim collapsing. Then I turned to find out where the scream had come from. I'm afraid I don't understand. I'm sure you told the court that there was no one else in the carriage except yourself and the victim. So I did, sir, so I did. As far as I could see, that is. What do you mean by that? Well now, 'tis a queer thing. The wee scream I heard as I woke up. It came from, if you'll excuse the vulgar expression, under me backside. Good gracious! Under your backside? Yes, my arse. And when I lifted the seat on which I'd been sitting, I found there was a wee cubbyhole there for storage. Mr. Naruhodo, we can examine the omnibus ourselves, remember? Yes, of course, the whole bus was submitted as evidence. This would be a very good time to have a thorough look around inside. We already did that, actually. And that's where I found her. There was a child in there, all curled up in a ball, hiding her wee self away. Well, there is something I want to look at. Another look in here. Well, let's open the door and go inside, shall we? Yeah. Okay, here's something I forgot to look at the first time I went in here. Was this blood stain? That's blood, isn't it? Something wrong? Oh, it's just, well, this blood stain is so obvious, that's all. And yet, Van Zeeks has made no mention of it. I suppose that does seem a little strange. Why do I have such a bad feeling about this? Oh, I've got a bad feeling about this. Okay, here's what we're here to look at. Because there was supposedly no room in this for... The seat has a handle. Okay, yeah. And everything is gone. Somebody is tampered with the evidence because all this stuff is gone. This is a storage compartment, but there's nothing in here. It's totally empty. Something doesn't seem right here, but I can't put my finger on what it is. Oh, come on. We looked at it. Okay, let's get the hell out of here. Right, actually, no, there is one other thing. Because I'm starting to think... So there's this latch up here. They made a point of pointing out that you can't open the skylight from the inside, but you can from the outside because there's a little latch there. I wonder if it's going to let me certainly see inside the... Okay, no, it's not going to let me do that yet. Okay, just getting ahead of the game, I guess. There was a child in there all curled up in a ball, hiding her wee self away. You say she was hiding herself? Aye, that's right. It was hard to see in the dim lamplight, but she was all curled up in a wee ball. When our eyes met, well, me heart nearly stopped beating in me chest. You're really overreacting this. Still and all, I pulled her out from under there and sat her on the seat opposite so I could have a wee chinwag with her. The seat opposite? That's right. Just next to the dead gentleman there. You sat this young girl next to a corpse, sir? Well, as I'm sure I mentioned, a gentleman in my position can all too often find himself in mortal danger. So, I needed to find out just who this urchin was, you see. And while I was in the middle of talking with her, I heard another scream, a fella's voice this time. Presumably that scream was Mr. First, who was sitting on the roof deck seats. Right you are again, I would say, sir. Looking down through the skylight, he must have seen this young girl and the gentleman with the knife in his belly. In other words, the previous witness did not, in fact, see you at all, Mr. McGilded. What they believed to be yourself and the victim was, in fact, this girl and the late Mr. Mason. Aye, my lord. I was, as I think everyone understands now, sat at the back of the carriage, out of sight. Clack. It is certainly plausible. The defendant is somewhat diminutive in stature, and readily confused, perhaps, with this young girl. After that, of course, with the scream from the gentleman over us, the driver realized something was wrong and pulled up the horses. Thank you, I've heard enough. Guilty. I mean, the events, as explained, are clear in my mind. However, at least one conundrum remains. A lot of conundrums remain. Who is this girl? Her name is Gina Lestrade, my lord. She's a chancer. Earns her crust among large crowds, relieving people of their purses. What's commonly called a pickpocket. What? This girl here? A petty thief? I believe that's what I said. Order! Order! Is this true, Miss Lestrade? Miss Lestrade, you will answer the question. Okay, and you're gonna spend a long time in a cell for that. How dare you? What is the meaning of this? Ah! The girl, she's gone! Open your eyes. I'm over ear. Oh no. She's gonna have that X in it, isn't she? Good gracious, how? What was the point of that little sidestep? I know what you lot of think. Oh no, I can't do that. I know what you lot are thinking. Grown-ups are all the same. The dirty little dipper, you'll say. Slipping up and got caught on the job. She got herself backed into a corner, so she knifed the gent. Go on. That's what's in your heads, ain't it? No, not at all. This is a court of law. We're here to determine the truth, not... It's like a stink bomb. Look, knives are for cowards. Only thugs use weapons like that. All I need is what I got in these fingers. I'm a professional, alright. Maybe not in your eyes, but I got pride in what I do. Let me guess, you don't count smoke guns among weapons for thugs. Oh, this? Yeah, this was in a bag I lifted the other day, down where they keep the four-wheeled drags. It's nice, isn't it? I like the pink best. I know I'm supposed to be doing some Mary Poppins bullshit there for her voice, but I can't do that. Do not wave that thing in my direction again. This guy's gonna be drunk by the end of the trial. So, you admit that you were riding the omnibus on the night in question. Tis alright, lass. You can tell them the truth now. Alright, yeah. Just like the Irishman said. I've been doing him as Scottish. Oh, too late now to change. The court accepts this girl, Miss Gina Lestrade, as a valid and significant witness in this case. Lestrade. Interesting. Accordingly, young lady, you will now hear your we will now hear your testimony, if you please. You will tell the court exactly what happened in the omnibus on the night in question. Alright. If I have to. See, I can't do that. That's a British accent that I know I cannot do. So I stuck inside the carriage before they hooked up the horses, just like always. But it was a right old waste of time. I got nothing to show for me troubles that night. Oh, it was a waste of my time. I got nothing to show for my trouble that night. I'll tell you, you can't see a blind thing in that hiding place. It's pitch in there. And after a while, I hear a loud bang. Nearly jumped out of me skin, I did. And the scream just came out. It's because of that, this swell found me. He did help me out. He did help me get away, mind. Yes, he let you go. I fail to understand why you would let this street urchin go, Mr. McGilded. Oh, 'tis simplicity itself, my lord. You see, she couldn't possibly have killed the other passenger. I knew that for a fact. How? As I'm sure I said before, sir. I was sitting on top of the place where she was hiding herself. I think a demonstration is called for. This is where I sat that night, and the cubbyhole of which you have spoken is underneath this seat, I presume. Yes, it does appear just large enough to accommodate someone of the girl's stature. The evidence has been tampered with. Aye, but of course the wee lass was stuck in there, because I'd parked myself on the seat for the duration. Ah! So you see, that's why I let the lass bolt. I knew that if the police found her there, they'd automatically assume she'd done it. But I couldn't live with myself if a young life was ruined when all the time I knew she was innocent. Even though you must have you realized your action would result in your own innocence being called into question? Not at all. Not at all, my lord. Not at all. I knew in my own heart that I was innocent. So I thought it was worth taking a punt on my own good name for the sake of this less fortunate lass. My goodness. What a perfect gentleman. My lord. This fine example of a man cannot possibly be guilty of a heinous crime like this. I'm ashamed of myself for ever doubting you, sir. Ooh. With calm, calculated reasoning, one arrives clearly at the truth every time. Okay, so I win. Saints alive! All six members of the jury consensual in their leanings to a verdict of not guilty. Mr. Naruhodo, this... Well, it must mean... Must mean what? That we're victorious! Oh, Susato. You've never played an Ace Attorney game before, have you? We've won? Are you sure?
Objection!
Objection, see? If the sight of my iron-heeled Wellington offends, pray do forgive the discourtesy. Oh, does he get to pull this bullshit now? This really is a consummate example of the one monumental flaw in British judicial practices, where evidence and reasoning should be paramount, emotion rules the day. Emotion? The witness's last statement gives us a clear insight into his true nature. What do you mean, his true nature? Do you really think Scotland Yard would have made such a glaring omission? After the incident, the omnibus was comprehensively searched by officers of the police. Obviously, the interior of this cubbyhole, as the witness put it, was included in their investigation. The compartment under the posterior seat was full of the coachman's belongings. It's noted in black and white here in the police report. Good Lord! The evidence has been tampered with. In order to corroborate Mr. McGilda's story, someone has unlawfully removed everything from under the seat. What? Clack, clack, clack. Order! Order! How could such a devious contrivance possibly have been effected, counsel? Naturally, we must acknowledge the deficiencies of the constabulary in allowing this to have happened. However, I assure you, when the omnibus was wheeled into the courtroom this morning, the compartment under the seat was not empty. Well, my Nipponese friend. Me? When the carriage was submitted as evidence, doubtless you examined it in fine detail, as would any self-respecting practitioner of law. Yeah, I did. Pray, what did you find the condition of the underseat compartment to be? There was shit in it, that's what I found. Oh, to be sure, the young gentleman will be able to clear this up in a jiffy. Sorry? Go ahead. You tell the court now, fella. Oh, this is all an elaborate excuse by the desperate Lord Van Zeeks. Well, counsel, do you have something to say on the matter? Oh, crap. How am I supposed to answer? Like being punished for being thorough? Is that it? What can I say about the state of the compartment under the seat in the omnibus? I didn't look. It was empty, or it wasn't empty. Well, I have to tell the truth. I really don't know if giving this answer is helping my cause as counsel for the defense. But as far as I remember, at least, when I first examined the compartment, I'm fairly certain there were a number of articles inside it, yes. Are you sure, counsel? Bewelst. Bewist? What are you saying now, you daft dog? I thought you were on my side here. What game are you playing? Your task is to defend the man in the stand. Why would you say something to compromise his position? Your Honor, I move that I be disbarred for bringing this evidence against my own client. No, actually, as the advocate for the defense in this trial, I confess I'm still not entirely sure where I stand, but it seems to me that I should state what facts I do know as clearly and honestly as possible. Interesting. 'Tis not altogether pleasing, fella. I'm simply telling the truth, Mr. McGilded. Well, don't forget that you're supposed to be representing my best interests here, lad. Now then, a fellow's memory is a curious thing, and not altogether reliable. No, the court must consider the facts. That the cubbyhole under the seat is as empty as the devil's heart, so it is. Do you think perhaps it would be in your best interest now to admit that you might have been mistaken? I don't think so. Why? Why do I feel like something's not right here? I should like the jury to weigh in on this matter, I think. That compartment is designed to house equipment used to maintain the smooth running of the carriage. The guild's rules state that omnibuses should be properly and fully equipped at all times. So it certainly wouldn't have been empty on the night in question. Beppo isn't that responsible. That moneylender fleecer and the pickpurse are lying. Here we go again. I can't believe I was nearly taken in. The stinking rich are always stinkers. Nothing but cowards, the lot of them. What? Oh no. It's a trick. Of course it's a trick. Quite so. I must concur here. And we're back to a stalemate. With calm, calculated reasoning, one arrives clearly at the truth every time. Yes, but every time is a different truth, it seems. My lord, I humbly exhibit the scales of justice. Clearly a verdict of not guilty at this time would be wholly inappropriate. Thank you, counsel. But before we proceed any further, there is the matter of the outstanding cross-examination. Ah, yes. Let's actually do that. Counsel for the defense, begin your questioning of the witness, please. Yes, my lord. What just happened? The whole balance of the trial just shifted almost beyond recognition. The Reaper of the Bailey is at work, it would seem. Cross-examination time. So I snuck inside the carriage before they hooked up the horses. Hold it. Hold your horses. So you were already in the omnibus before it even set off on its run. Well, yeah, I mean, what's the point of spending a joey to make a few bob, eh? That's a rum idea, isn't it? Suppose she means there's no point in spending money to make money. Actually makes sense. Counsel, may I remind you that this girl is a petty thief? Kindly refrain from entertaining her tenants. What's she on the stand for? Well, it does clear up one little mystery of the fares and all. 4 paying passengers at 5 pence apiece, making the 20 to which the cabman testified. And one little scapegrace riding for free. The red conch of a driver already goes for some grub before its last night. Oh my god, the red conch of a driver always goes for some grub before his last run, see? So that's when I slip into the carriage and get myself hidden under the seat. Nice and easy, right? So she slips in while he's eating. But your hiding place is a storage compartment full of equipment for the coach, no? Yeah, there's brushes and buckets and whatnot in there. Sure. I always chuck it all out and cram it in the corner somewhere, in a corner somewhere. No one ever seems to bother much. And yet, according to the report filed by the police officer who first arrived at the scene, the compartment was full of such paraphernalia. Well, I don't know nothing about that. Like I said, I moved all the stuff out so I could hide under the seat. That's all I can tell you. Seems we've reached the end of that line of inquiry. Continue. But it was a right old waste of time. I got nothing to show for me troubles that night. A waste of time. Why is that? Well, most nights I'm on me own in the God permit at least some of the time. I beg your pardon? Did you say God permit? Oh yeah, that's what my kind call it. You'd call it the omnibus, I suppose. Point is, any normal run, the carriage ain't got no one in it for a while. I apologize for the reading, but this chick's got a dialect that I'm having a hard time comprehending. And that's when you came out of your hiding place. And that's when you come out of your hiding place and get away. That's it. Only that night, this cove was sat on me seat from the start. And he didn't budge the whole way, did he? Not 1 inch. I was totally stuck. Do you mean to tell us that you were present in the carriage for the duration? You were under the seat the entire time while the events unfolded in the enclosed cabin? Yeah. Right, mister. To be sure, to be sure. I was as shocked as anyone. You didn't expect to lift the cushion and you'd be sat on, that you've been sat on, and find a child now, do you? So this Miss Lestrade couldn't possibly be the culprit then. Tell ya, you can't see a blind thing. It's pitch in there. So you couldn't see out into the cabin at all. Not a jot. Most days I push the cushion up with me head and look out the crack. Then I can have a butcher's at who I'm gonna fiddle. I thought you were a pickpocket, not a butcher. I mean, I can have a look. The seat I get under ain't as plush as the other one, see? So most of the time, the passengers plant themselves opposite. Okay, she's saying the seat isn't that comfortable, but he said he picks that seat because he said it was comfortable, right? But for some reason that night, this here Irishman spent the whole journey right over me head. And for that reason, you weren't able to push the cushion up and peek out. I see. Truth is, I ain't too happy in small dark places. Feels too much like being thrown in the clink. But it's the only place to hide in them carriages, so it's Hobson's choice. Why doesn't she just stick to picking people's pockets in the open then? I'd say there's some reason that she's not letting on, judging from her demeanor. So anyways, I was a bit scared, and I had to just stick it out under there. Nothing else for it. Then after a while, I hear a loud bang. Okay, here comes the good part. When you say a loud bang, do you mean the noise of someone falling to the floor? Could have been, I suppose. I don't remember so well. Point is, it made me jump. And you let out a scream involuntarily? That's right. That's when I felt the cushion over me head get lighter all of a sudden. Presumably when the defendant got up in order to help the victim, yes? Or not. It could equally have been the moment the accused stood in order to stab his victim. Could it not? Well, girl, do you see what happened at the crucial moment? Yeah, I saw... Ooh. I pushed up the cushion and had a quick butcher's while I had the chance, didn't I? The Irishman was sitting up the bloke what had fallen on the floor on the seat opposite. Jesus Christ. So, basically what she just said is that she saw Mr. McGilded put the guy in the opposite seat. Okay, that matches Mr. McGilded's account, of course. And then the fellow suddenly turned around and looks right at me. I sunk back down again, but it was too late by then. I should never have risked looking. Because of that, the swell found me. He did help me get away. Yep. And when Mr. McGilded discovered you, he pulled you out from your hiding place. I was scared stiff, I was. He dragged me out and sat me down on the seat and all. Next to the victim, Mr. Mason? Yeah. The bloke had a knife in his guts. He was still bleeding. Then the carriage lurched a bit, and he ended up falling onto me. Oh, how awful! Both me hands got covered in blood. Made me feel sick as a dog. Both her hands covered in blood. That must be what the rooftop passengers saw. They caught her red-handed. After that, I believe you talked with Mr. McGilded for a while. Is that correct? He asked me some stuff. Wanted to know me name and what I was up to in that. Then I heard something from up above. Someone screamed. Yes, Mr. First on the roof deck, one would presume. Well, I didn't want no one seeing me face, so I didn't look up. Then the horses were drawn up smartish, and this here Irishman says to me, "Get back under the seat. I'll see that you get away later." All 6 members of the jury had decided the defendant was innocent. For one brief shining moment, yes. It's clear that they are all still very unsure. If we could just find some conclusive piece of evidence among this new testimony, I'm sure we would clinch the verdict we want. Yes, I think you're right, and I have this niggling feeling something's bothering me, but I just can't quite put my finger on it. You know, if we could just keep reversing the jury again and again, how are we ever supposed to finish this trial? Wait, am I supposed to... Let's see, so I stuck inside the carriage before... There weren't any, like, contradictions or anything. Go for me troubles. Tell you can't see a... I guess I should try pressing again. Sometimes after you go through like a whole line of testimony and you press everything, if you go through it again, you'll get something new. Like something she says at the end will influence something that's closer to the beginning. We're already in the omnibus before it even set off on its run. Okay, she said that already. Okay. Nothing new there. Equipment for the coach, no? Yet according to the report filed by the police who first arrived at the scene, the apartment was full of such paraphernalia. Well, I don't know nothing about that. Like I said, I moved all that stuff out so I could hide under the seat. That's all I can tell you. Okay, yeah. That's exactly how it ended last time.
Hold it!
Hold it! Waste of time. Why is that? Most nights are... Point is, any normal run, the carriage ain't got no one in it for a while. That's it. Only that night, this cove was set on me from the start. Didn't budge the whole way, did he? 1 inch, I was totally stuck. Do you mean to tell us that... Okay. Yeah, this is all the same.
Hold it!
See out into the cabin. On shot most days the cushion. I had to look out the crack. Have a look to see who I'm gonna fiddle. Or pickpocket out a butcher. I mean, I can have a look to see. Most time passengers plant themselves opposite. That's the thing that's kind of bugging me, because he said that the back seat was comfortable, but she's saying no, it's not as cushy as the other seat. For some reason that night, this here Irishman spent the whole journey right over me head. For that reason, you weren't able to push the cushion up. Ooh! Ooh! This is new. I ain't too happy in small dark places. Feels too much like I'm being thrown in the clink. Well, that's what she said last time, but...
Excuse me!
Now all of a sudden he's chuckling at her. Is something wrong, Mr. McGilded? Oh, I do apologize. Was there something the matter, Counsel? I'm just wondering if Mr. Lestrade's, or Miss Lestrade's, last comment made something occur to you. So Lestrade is obviously a character from Sherlock Holmes, right? So I don't know what the connection is with this character, but whatever. Miss Lestrade's last comment made something occur to you, perhaps? You seem to be thinking something to yourself. Oh, no. 'Twas nothing important. I was feeling bad for the poor lass is all. Remember feeling desperate myself as a young lad. Shut up in the dark. 'Twas terrifying, so it was. I see, yes, I'm sure we can all sympathize. I'm still scared of the dark now myself. I don't know about yourself, but I find the darkness seems to make everything you hear seem that much louder as well. Yeah. I suppose it does, maybe. Miss Lestrade. Did you hear something at night? Anything? An unusual noise, perhaps? Didn't we already establish this? Nah, not really. All I could hear was the Irishman snoring. But Jabers, There's no need to tell the whole world of me foibles, you little scamp. What a pity. If only Miss Lestrade had heard something, it might have given us a vital new clue. Didn't she hear the thud of the guy? Did I miss something here? Now she's saying she didn't hear anything? What should we make of that last statement of hers? It's profoundly important. My lord, I believe that statement just made by the witness is profoundly important. Profoundly important? But all she said was that she heard nothing. Yes, which is the profoundly important point. I'm almost sure of it. I'm almost sure that I don't understand the inner workings of your Eastern mind, Counsel. Nevertheless, racist. Miss Gina Lestrade, you will supplement your formal testimony by repeating that last statement, please. What? Suppertment? What are you on about? Don't give me all your fancy talk. I know what you're trying to do. Well, it won't work on me. That's right. Insult the judge. Always a good move. Just ask Amber Heard. I was straining my ears to work out what was going on, and all I could hear was snoring.
Hold it!
So I can almost do it. So you were straining to hear what was happening the entire time since the moment you hid yourself. Not exactly, no. Sorry. Well, there was no one in the captain to start with. I could just push the cushion up and have a butcher's to look to see what was what. But then, when I saw this swell getting on, I got me head down so he didn't notice me. And Mr. McGilded sat on the seat under which you were hiding, correct? Yeah. Would you Adam and Eve it? What? Would you Adam and Eve it, eh? What a mug. So then all I could do was listen. I was waiting to jump out of there as soon as I heard him leave, see? But would he? Not likely. Even though we stopped here and there, I never heard the door open. So I just had to stay put and listen to him driving his pigs to market. Oh, I get it. Listen to him driving his pigs to the market, snoring like an old dog he was. Are there any conclusions we can draw from that, I wonder? No, it doesn't add up. Because where does the body come from? It must have come through the skylight. So I'm right. Miss Lestrade, what you have just told the court is clearly at odds with the facts. Ah! At odds? Are you sure, man? Absolutely. Seems my learned Nipponese friend is not as dull-witted as I feared. So Van Zeeks realized it too. Clack. Counsel, I must insist that you bolster your claim with evidence, or some complicit party's name at the very least. Yes, my lord. I expect you to demonstrate this alleged contradiction to the court. According to Miss Lestrade, whilst she was hiding in the omnibus that night, she heard nothing but the sound of Mr. McGilded's snoring. But think, Renowski, think. Slap, slap. There's something else she should have heard. A person. Very well, my lord. Allow me to elaborate. The game is running kind of sluggishly. I wonder if I should restart at some point. A particular sound that Miss Lestrade could not have failed to hear on the night in question. Sound clearly explained by the presence of the following person.
Take that!
Gotta be that. Thrice fired Mason? Yes, my lord. The sound that Miss Lestrade cannot have failed to hear is that of the victim, Mr. Mason, boarding the omnibus. Order! Order! Explain your reasoning, counsel. Miss Lestrade, allow me to confirm something. You claimed earlier that you were the first person on board the omnibus. Is that correct? Yeah, of course I was. I got on while the driver was in the pub, didn't I? And the next person to board the omnibus was Mr. McGilded? That it was. Not a soul was in the cabin when I climbed aboard. At least, not in plain sight. So you were for all intents and purposes alone in the enclosed cabin of the omnibus at that time. Did I not just say as much? I wasn't traveling with anyone else, if that's what you mean. Yeah, I saw him get on, remember? Through the crack under the seat cushion. He was on his own, for sure. And from what we've heard, the carriage made a number of stops after that on its onward journey. During which time, did you not hear the door opening and closing at all? Nah, I never heard it. That's exactly what I was listening for, weren't it? Waiting for this swell to leave. In which case, when and how did the victim end up in the carriage? Ah. We know that the victim collapsed inside the enclosed cabin of the omnibus. Therefore, Miss Lestrade's statement about what she did or did not hear is at odds with the facts. Ah! Yes, this petty thief's statement was clearly flawed. Lord Van Zeek's. Yes. He knew all too well that there was an inconsistency in Miss Lestrade's statement. It would seem words of thanks are in order for my learned friend. What are you talking about? You have demonstrated matters impeccably. This witness and her colorful statements are entirely unreliable. Her words are convenient untruths, nothing more. He's dead. How could the victim possibly not have boarded the omnibus? That makes no sense, whatever. This girl's a pickpocket. Let's not forget that. No! Come on! Ugh. She didn't even say anything. I didn't want to judge the dear little mite just because she has some rather naughty ways. But I must say, I can't abide liars. And neither can I. Mr. Foreman, I didn't want to judge the girl just because she has some less than salburious ways. But I must say, I cannot abide liars. Oh, Jesus Christ. Am I going to have to do this thing again? Mr. Naruhodo, that's 5 jury members leaning toward guilty. Well, your consideration for others is refreshing, my Nipponese friend. To the considerable troubles you have spared me, Yes, very refreshing. Ah! Yeah. What are you playing at? Have you forgotten who you're working for? You useless Eastern Hamadan. This is carnage. It's perfect. Juror number 2 is the only one left. Mr. Naruhodo, the way this is going, I know if we can't find some new way to convince everyone of Mr. McGilded's innocence, the judge will rule and we'll have lost. I very much wanted to believe the words of one of London's most respected gentlemen. Oh, come on! But those of us in service know we must accept hard truths.
Hold it!
Hold it. I don't want to cross-examine the jury again. Yes, the witness's last statement seems to have revealed a critical inconsistency in her story. However, if we consider the possibility that her statement is in fact the truth, why should we do that? It may shed an entirely new light on this whole case. What are you saying? Counsel? I'm sorry, sir. Whatever do you mean? Counsel, I will not tolerate your attempting to prorogue my adjudication. Explain yourself at once. When the accused boarded the omnibus on the night in question, the victim was nowhere to be seen. Subsequently, the carriage door was not heard opening a single time, as testified by the witness in the stand. And yet the victim's body was found inside the carriage. If this petty thief's words are to be believed, how do you explain the victim's miraculous appearance inside the cabin of the omnibus? Breathe in, breathe out, Renosuke. There's only one way to explain how the victim came to be inside the carriage. There's another entrance. If the door wasn't opened even once, the only explanation is that the victim entered the enclosed cabin some other way. Objection! I wondered what new fantasy you would come up with in your blind panic. But behold, the omnibus is here for all to see. Only one side of the enclosed cabin is furnished with a door. The other has only windows. Fixed windows, which cannot possibly open. In short, there is no entrance to the cabin other than the door. Objection! But there could be. There's one possibility you haven't considered. Oh, really? Yes. One other way inside that isn't the door. Another opening, the use of which allowed the victim to appear inside the enclosed cabin. Clack. All right, counsel. The defense will identify the location for the court. Here's the omnibus on which the incident occurred. Where on earth is this entrance by which you propose the victim entered the cabin? Where on earth is this entrance? Why, it's right here.
Take that!
The answer is obvious. It can only have been the skylight. I say, the skylight?
Objection!
Objection! Your ludicrous proposal almost has me lost for words. However, objection. The skylight may well be large enough for someone to pass through.
Objection!
Objection. So you claim. But do you have a shred of evidence to support your addle-brained theory? Both Mr. McGilden and Miss Lestrade said the same in their testimonies. They each claimed to have heard a loud thud, such as the noise made by someone falling to the floor. Yes, which has already been explained, as the sound of the victim falling from his seat having been assaulted with the dagger. Ah, but falling from a seat seems kind of strange, doesn't it? Would a man slipping from a seat onto the floor really have made such a loud noise as the witness described? A noise loud enough to cause Miss Lestrade to let out an involuntary cry, in fact. Good gracious! Perhaps, in fact, that was the moment that the victim made his entrance into the cabin. No, let me rephrase that. The victim didn't enter the cabin as such. He fell into it.
Objection!
Objection! You're now suggesting that the victim fell from the skylight into the cabin? That's simply impossible. How can you be so sure? Because if the victim had fallen inside through the skylight, as you say, the passengers on the roof deck would have seen it happen. And yet, not one person made mention of such events in their testimony. Well, yes, that's true, but... Hold it! Might a humble fella make a wee comment here? Mr. McGilded. To be sure now, the two fellas who were sat on the roof that testified afore said nothing of the victim falling through the skylight. But it seems to me, my lord, that 'tis not so much a case of them not saying, but aye, 'tis a case of them being unable to say. What? I think perhaps the two fellas do be having something of a compelling reason not to mention what happened. Would just not agree, fine ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Oh my goodness, surely not. Those two chaps on the roof? You mean the ones who stuck that knife in the man were... No, I don't think that's true either. Ah, you're back. Just what exactly are you insinuating here, you blitherer? You rotter, he said, you rotter. What are you insinuating? This is a flaming outrage. I've a good mind to give you a blinker in a minute. Oh yeah, the computer's chugging. What the hell's going on here? Well, he'll give you a shiner in a minute, he said. And so will I. Mr. Fairplay. You're effectively accusing me, a city gentleman and well-respected banker, and me, a very angry hatter, a mad hatter, suggesting that someone like me could have stabbed that man in his guts? It's a disgrace. It's scandalous. It's preposterous, lascivious, outrageous. I protest in the strongest possible terms. That's right, I protest too. About you rotten scoundrel. Clack, clack, clack. Order, order! This is not the time, witnesses. I will not permit this wanton invasion of the stand. Return to the anteroom at once. But this is beyond reason, my lord. It's outrageous. Truly, truly, truly outrageous. It's very hurtful, you know. My lord, if I may comment... Go ahead, Lord Van Zeeks. It was the defense that incited this outburst from the witnesses. My learned friend has seen fit to abandon all protocol and accuse the witnesses without proof. Accuse? I never intended to. It seems, young Nipponese, that your command of the English tongue is wanting. You propose to this court that the victim fell through the skylight from the roof deck of the omnibus. That hypothesis cannot possibly stand without the rooftop passengers being aware of the events. You have branded these gentlemen liars. You have intimated their criminal guilt. In our British court of law, that is what is termed a baseless accusation. I know I was rash to put this idea forward without any actual evidence, but you can't just dismiss it without a second thought. What are we wasting time for? Get them to testify. I thought there was something fishy about that hat from the moment I laid eyes on the fellow. We have to see this matter through now, one way or another. There's filth and rubbish in our midst. We must dispose of it at once. It's like WWE. What's happening, Mr. Naruhodo? The spectators in the public gallery they're in a complete frenzy. They're chanting. Mr. Fairplay and Mr. First. My lord? You will take the stand again and make another formal testimony in reference to the indictment brought by the defense. Yes, my lord. What is that guy looking at? He's... I didn't come here for this. There's no time to think this through. All I can do is keep pushing forward. Okay, I'm gonna take a quickie break and try to see what's going on with the computer to see if I can get it to stop chugging. Because it's really starting to bother me. Hang on. Stay right there. Alright, we're back. And I was having some computer issues on the last part of this trial because the animation was kind of... The frame rate was dropping really bad. So I checked some settings. I didn't find anything. So I reset the computer just to see if that might help. We'll see. Anyway, last time we implicated these two gentlemen as potential conspirators, as there's really no other explanation for how the body entered the carriage but through the skylight, and they were sitting on the upper deck, so if something passed through the skylight, they would have had to see it. But they testified otherwise, so we gotta find out what the hell is going on here. Anyway, let's hear these two idiots talk. We were the only two people on the roof deck, dead or alive, I can swear to that. If anything had happened where we were sitting, don't you think one or the other of us would have noticed? In any case, neither of us know the first thing about the victim. We had no reason to kill the man. The skylight was shut the entire time, I tell you. We couldn't possibly have opened it. Okay, that was the animation that was stuttering last time. That's where the frame rate was dropping. That looks a lot better. Okay. So let us continue. If you're so sure the victim fell through the skylight, where's your proof? I must say that on listening to this testimony, it is somewhat hard to imagine how either witness could have performed any malevolent act on this open rooftop deck without the other noticing forthwith. That's right, you see? We're innocent, I tell you. Although logically, of course, their argument falls down if the two of you were in collusion with one another. What? According to investigations by Scotland Yard, the two witnesses share no common dealings. Huh. Well, I don't trust coppers any more than I trust the stinking rich. Something doesn't feel right here. The trial is going in our favor, really. So why do I feel so uneasy? Counsel for the defense, over to you. Your cross-examination, please. Oh, yes, my lord. Well, this should be interesting. Cross-examination time. Refuting the accusation. Let's just see about that, sir. So at no time did the victim, Mr. Mason, climb up to join you on the roof deck? Absolutely not, Dickon. No question about it, he said. None at all. Oh, but yes, of course. I remember seeing them both. I saw the victim inside the enclosed cabin talking with this man here. Is this true, Mr. McGilded? Dear me, my lord, at the risk of repeating myself, I boarded the omnibus alone and nodded off inside almost immediately. That's an outright lie. Without a doubt, you were engaged in... Let me stop you right there, fella, and ask, do you have any evidence at all? At all? 'Tis all about evidence in the courts these days, so it is. You'd do well to remember that. I saw you with my own eyes. This is going so well. If anything had happened where we were sitting, don't you think one of the other of us would have noticed? Hold it right there, sir. Well, it was on the final run of the omnibus at past 10 o'clock in the evening. It would certainly have been quite dark, perhaps too dark to see clearly. That's a bit of a stretch. Is this some kind of a lock? Is this some kind of a joke, he said? Is that what this is? Or perhaps one or other of you fell asleep briefly. Are you fair dinkum, sir? Are you serious, sir? That's what he said. It's impossible, I tell you. I'd give you the keys to the vault if you could fall asleep in that bitter cold. And if you did manage it, your eyelids would freeze shut and you'd never open them again. That's extreme. It was extreme, I tell you, and we had to put up with it because this man had locked the door. This guy's suit does not fit him. Look at this. Any true gentleman would have unlocked it and let me in when I knocked. I'm dreadfully sorry about that, young fella. But you see, I was away with the fairies and I didn't hear you at all. That's a lie. I saw you through the glass. You were talking to someone. Wait a minute. So you weren't even on the rooftop when you were talking to the girl. So they weren't even there for the actual murder. No, 'twas a cold night, so it was. People do be seeing things that aren't real in the cold. 'Tis hardly surprising. Seeing things? I'm starting to like this Hatter guy. I believe we have reached an impasse here on this particular point. So I'm starting to put this together. There was a sixth passenger. They just weren't all on at the same time. And I'm starting to think about who that might be. And I'll give you a hint. It involves a piece of evidence that we haven't looked at in a while. You... Don't take it personally now, lad. If I'm a suspect in this case, then 'tis only fair that you and the other fiend are too. Open and free competition is what a capitalist society is all about. This isn't about competition I should like to be involved in, really. In any case, neither of us would know the first thing about the victim. Probably true. So you had never met Mr. Thrice Mason before. Oh, no! Not once, never! That means you have. He'd never met the man before, he said. Never! And you, Mr. First, had no prior dealings with the victim either. That's right, sir. Hatters don't have much to do with brickmakers, to be perfectly honest, sir. No, I imagine not. You see? How many different ways can I put this? Neither of us have the remotest connection to the gentlemen who were inside the cabin. Oh, really? Because this guy is chuckling to himself.
Excuse me.
Excuse me. Mr. McGilded. Yes, Counsel? What can I be doing for you? Did the witness's last statement give you pause for some thought somehow? Not the remotest connection? Is that right now, I wonder? What are you insinuating now? Ah, Mr. Fairplay. Has been too long, so it has. Eh? If I'm not very much mistaken, I believe 'tis fast approaching, is it not? Your repayment date. I beg your pardon. You borrowed 20 guineas from me, sir. At an unconscionable rate of interest. You tricked me. It's extortion. Well now, is that a touch of begrudgery, is it? The sort of begrudgery that might motivate a fellow to pass his crimes off on another. This guy's so easily flustered. And you, young Mr. Frost. Me, sir? What do you want with me, sir? Do you be making hats for a living, do you not? That there top hat sliding about on your head, is that one of your own creations, is it? Oh, well, I'm still just an apprentice, you understand. I'm learning to find the perfect fit for whatever fine gent walks through the door. The perfect fit, is it? Well, 'tis a very distinctive design, so it is. Many customers like it, I tell you. They like a distinctive touch. Customers, such as thrice-fired Mason. Oh no! There was a photographic print of the victim submitted as evidence for my lord. Aha! Oh, this you mean. Aha! Yeah, I'm looking at that now, that awful hat. I can't help thinking that poor fellow's hat looks distinctly familiar, wouldn't you say? Oh. Oh dear. That's one of my hats. Aye, that it is. So it seemed the brickmaker was a customer of yours. The sort of customer, I'd wager, you could have had a good wee quarrel with over the distinctiveness of the goods. Oh no, sir. Absolutely not, sir. Well, there's really nothing more to add. It wouldn't be right to say that the two fellas here haven't the remotest connection to the victim, you see. I rest my case. You little weasel. He's better at this than I am. Gosh, Mr. McGilded has certainly been through in his research. I'm sorry. Gosh, Mr. McGilded certainly has been thorough in his research, hasn't he? Please don't let me little interruptions hold up the proceedings. The skylight was shut the entire time, I tell you. We couldn't possibly have opened it. Oh, really? Hold it. Are you quite certain about that? That the skylight was shut the entire time? I'm going to lose my block with you in a minute. He's going to lose his rag with you in a minute. That's what he said. Take a look for yourself. Go on. You see? It's shut fast now, just like it was on the night. So it is, of course. A fellow the size of Mr. Mason could likely break right through it. Still and all. What? Just look at the size of the thing. You understand? No, you hold on there a minute, sir. The size of the thing means nothing. Not on its own. Let's consider the bigger picture here, shall we? Stop biting our cane, shall we? I was riding the omnibus on another occasion when, well, I broke the window loudly. I shocked myself with it, as it happens. This is an unexpected confession, Mr. First. Oh, I just mean to say, well, the point is, I tried to open the skylight, you see. But, just my luck, I couldn't make it budge. The stench was terrible. Everyone was looking daggers at me, sir. I went as red as rouge, I did. Are you expecting me to sentence you? Oh, no, sir. The point is, the skylight can't be opened. I tried and tried when I was inside the cabin of shame. The skylight doesn't open, you say. So that proves it. We couldn't have kicked the victim down into the cabin below, I tell you. Neither of us could. Nobody mentioned anything about kicking anyone. Like I said, these details are little nuggets at best. It's the mother lode we should be looking for. You're so sure the victim fell through the skylight? Where's your proof?
Hold it!
Hold it. Proof. That's right. I demand to hear it. We came here to say what we saw, I tell you. Not for this. Will you call us both shysters? Yeah, I'll go with that. Brand us as criminals. You call us liars. That's what he means. And accuse us of doing it. As it stands at the moment, there's no hard evidence that incriminates yourselves. Now, it is there. I believe we're in much the same position as one another here. No! If I don't crack this case soon, he'll crack his teeth. I wonder if these two men really were involved in some way. I couldn't say. I mean, I don't really know anything about them. Do I? Although by the same token, I don't really know anything about Mr. McGilded either. It's so hard to know what to believe here. I think we should try to remember that it's evidence alone that can truly determine the outcome of the trial. Evidence. No one can argue against decisive evidence, including the members of the jury. So you're saying that what we need now is to find a conclusive piece of evidence? Yes, Mr. Naruhodo, precisely. Okay, so I need to look at the evidence again. Even though I got nothing out of this before, it's gotta be this. Okay. Nope. Up. Okay, let's look at this again. Notice the latch, please. Inside the carriage, that's for yes, and there's a lamp and... So, I'm sure the witnesses would have been able to see quite clearly. That's not good for us. Oh, come on! It's right there! Come on! Okay, let's just go through their claims again. We were the only two people up on the roof deck, dead or alive, I swear to that. If anything had happened where we were sitting, don't you think one or the other of us would have noticed? In any case, neither one of us know the first thing about the victim. We had no reason to kill the man. It was shut the entire time, I tell you. Couldn't possibly have opened it. So sure the victim fell through the skylight. Where's your proof? Let's see. Roof deck. Okay, do I just present this then? This is gonna get me a strike. But I don't know what else to do.
Objection.
There's clearly something odd about the list. Oh no. Damn it. In any case, neither of us know the first thing about the victim. We had no reason to kill the man. The skylight was shut the entire time. I tell you, we couldn't possibly have opened it. We're so sure the victim fell through the skylight. Where's your proof? I don't know. Okay, let's start pressing them again. Said maybe something new will come up, because I don't know what else to do. Time for victims to climb up to join. Doing that. Yes, of course, sir. Doing both. Okay. I'm starting to think that they didn't show up until after the body fell through the rooftop.
Hold it!
Okay, it's not that one. No, it was a cold night, so it was. People do be seeing things that aren't real in the cold. 'Tis hardly surprising. Seeing things! I love this guy. Hold it. Okay, let's take a look at the how do I get into the okay, RB. Well, I need to be able to get into the I want to look at the suspects. Scotland Yard coroner, it gives the cause of death. Internal hemorrhage, well, single stab. Okay, I already looked at this. I mean, it could be that. Possibly have opened it. Fell through the skylight. Where's your proof? I don't know. The 8-seater omnibus that was the scene of the crime. There were passengers both inside the carriage and on the roof deck that night. Okay. Okay. Let's see if there's anything I'm missing here. Not really. You're so sure the victim fell through the skylight. Okay, I'm gonna... because I can't figure out what the fuck I'm supposed to find here. I'm gonna save. I'm gonna do some save scumming here, which is kind of cheesy, but I don't know what else to do. So I'm going to save right there, and then I'm just going to...
Objection.
Shit. Okay. That was the wrong answer, so we're gonna reload. Skylight, where's proof? Skylight was shut the entire time, I tell you. Couldn't possibly have opened it. In any case, thinking about the victim. It happened where we were sitting. Don't you think one or other of us would have noticed? People up on the roof deck, dead or alive. I can swear to that. Okay, this isn't gonna be it either.
Objection.
There's clearly something odd about the last statement made by the witness. God damn it! This is getting me nowhere. Okay, so yes, neither of us know the first thing about the victim. I already presented that one.
Objection.
What am I missing? Yes, neither of us know the first thing about the victim. We had no reason to kill the man. Anything had happened where we were sitting, don't you think one or the other of us would have noticed.
Hold it!
Well, it was on the final run of the omnibus at past 10 o'clock in the evening. It would certainly have been quite dark, perhaps too dark. In any case, neither of us know the first thing about the victim. We had no reason to kill the man. Okay, I gotta press this again. What was...
Hold it!
Hold it. So you had never met Mr. Thrice-Fired Mason before. Had no prior dealing with the victim either. That's right, hatters don't have much to do with brickmakers. No, I imagine not. See, how many different ways can I put this? Neither of us have the remotest connection to the gentlemen who were inside the cabin. That's right, it's about motive, and we have none. No motive, Not all, is it? Jesus Christ.
Hold it!
I'll block with you in a minute. That's what he said. Take a look for yourself. Go on. See, it's shut fast now. Okay. Of course, fellow besides Mr. Mason could likely break right through it. Still and all. I was riding the omnibus on another occasion when I broke wind loudly, shocked myself. Okay.
Wait, that ain't...
Aha!
Excuse me!
Finally. Do you have something to say about that, Miss Lestrade? Miss Lestrade. It opens. The skylight. That is what we're talking about, right? Now don't be doing none of that. All them skylights open. Dead easy. More easily than you can load that weapon. That's a lie, I tell you. Otherwise, when I broke wind, You can't do it from the inside, you mug. Oh? Look, a few weeks ago, I was up on the roof deck of one of them drags. Then I had a great haul. I mean, I had purses coming out me ears. Miss Lestrade, this is not the forum to be eulogizing on the subject of your criminal activities. Well, anyway, I had a bit of a scare. When I lifted the last bloke's purse, he got wise to me. All four of them surrounded me so I couldn't hop off the bus and leg it. She couldn't hop off the bus and run. So what I did was I used the skylight, opened the catch, and jumped right through. What? Yeah, the catch from the skylight is on the top side. That's why you can't open them from the cabin. The skylight opens from the roof deck? Bailiff! Climb onto the roof of the omnibus at once and verify this witness's claim. There it is. Wow, I noticed that like what, 3 hours ago? Ugh. Oh, my hat. See? Order! Order! So it appears that this street girl's statement is quite true. I don't believe it. The skylight opens. And from the roof deck. Mr. Naruhodo. This could be the clue we've been looking for. Well, counsel for the defense, please continue with your cross-examination. Yes, my lord. So the skylight opens. Perhaps I should investigate for myself. Okay. You just hold that thought. Oops. Wrong button. Okay, we're gonna take a look at this thing. Now it'll tell me, right? So the skylight was fastened shut before, but now the catch has been undone. We should be able to open it. Aha! You can certainly see inside the carriage from this opening, that's for sure. Yes, and there's a lamp in the enclosed cabin. So I'm sure the witnesses would have been able to see quite clearly. Oh, they're just repeating the same thing as before. Oh, God. Okay, well. Okay, let's go inside. Have a look. Yeah. My word. What's this? Yes, it does open very wide, doesn't it? Wide enough to kick someone like you through, certainly, Mr. Naruhodo. Why someone like me? Ah! What is it? Look, just here. Look at this! That's, without question, it's blood! Why would there be a blood stain there? Surely, it can't be unrelated to the case, can it? Don't call me Shirley. Details of the omnibus have been updated in the court record. Okay. Sir. Oh wait, we're gonna present that.
Objection!
On the night in question, the victim was fatally stabbed in the stomach, and immediately afterwards, the victim's body was pushed through the skylight into the cabin below. Those are the facts, and the irrefutable proof remains clearly visible in the omnibus that stands before us today in this very courtroom. What? That's utter humbug. Well, you can't possibly have any evidence. No, you can't. I mean, we didn't do it. I tell you, it's impossible. Irrefutable proof here in this courtroom. Counsel, my lord, I believe everyone would appreciate a little clarification here. Where exactly within the omnibus is this evidence to which you allude? Oh, you will point out what it is that proves the victim fell from the roof deck through the skylight. Oh, get a load of this, Judge. Yes, oh, God, wrong button. Okay, enough. Shut up. Okay.
Got it!
Got it! By Jupiter! Is that blood? Urgh. This bloodstain proves two things. Firstly, when the incident occurred, the skylight of the omnibus was open. What? And secondly, the victim was already bleeding when he fell through the opening. Oh my! And so it follows that Mr. McGilded, who was inside the enclosed cabin himself at the time, cannot possibly be guilty of this crime. Acquittal! No! Order! Order! Order!
Hold it!
Hold it. What? But the blood could have sprayed up there when the fellow was stabbed in the cabin. And only found its way in that one particular spot on the skylight? Sure, and that would be very convenient. And let's keep it in mind that the skylight catch can only be unfastened from the roof deck. And myself wouldn't have been able to open it now, would I? But there's no way to know for certain, is there? If the gent really fell through the skylight, I mean. Why don't you have a look? Why don't you have a good look at the floor of the cabin between the two seats, Mr. First? 'Tis all too plain, if you see. There's the aftermath that shows the poor fella dropped from a fair height right there, so it is. What? No! But it can't be. It's all lies! Hold it. My fellow jury members. I think we can all agree that this is clear proof of the defendant's innocence, can't we? I believe we can. Yes, sir. It's clear to me now where the filthy rubbish can be found in this courtroom. So, they thought they could pull the wool over my eyes, did they? I won't tolerate any of the guild's carriages being sullied with blood. I won't tolerate it. Oh, I always knew that nice gentleman who gave us that delightful park couldn't possibly have done such a thing. On three then, everyone. 1, 2, 3.
Objection!
What's the maid doing? She's already voted not guilty. Chilling performance, Mr. McGilded. Oh, and what would be you referring to there now, Lord Van Zeeks? Oh, I clicked past what he said. It's like a bloodstain on the frame of the skylight? Such evidence is null and void. What? Why? For one extremely simple reason. That smear of blood never existed. Objection. What are you talking about? It's there for all to see, and it's clearly blood. I personally attended Scotland Yard's investigation of the omnibus. The officers involved went over the carriage with a fine-toothed comb, so I can state with absolute certainty. Did he say certainty? With absolute surety, no such smear of blood existed in the carriage, at least not until this trial began. But are you suggesting, Lord Van Zeeks, that this stain of blood was fabricated, my lord? Yes. While this court has been in session, what a palaver. I must say I didn't expect such crude reasoning From a prosecutor of your standard, Lord Van Zieks. But I'm Magnus Begilded, a fellow known all over the capital for his fine contributions to public life. I don't take kindly to slander, and I'll fight it to the bitter end. Even if it's rolling off the tongue of the Reaper of the Bailey. Mr. McGilded, I realize that this is your first appearance in court as the accused. However, I am well aware of your involvement beyond the scenes in a great many affairs of dubious nature. You're very well adept when it comes to avoiding getting your own hands dirty. And each time it happens that a case you're involved in is investigated, you adapt the facts. Adapt the facts? What does that even mean? When you wield a fortune the size of Mr. McGilded's, however ill-gotten it may be, nothing is impossible. Tampering with evidence, manipulating the scene of the crime, bribing witnesses. I toast your ability to concoct the most convenient of stories, sir. Tut-tut, Lord Van Zieks. This will not do, to be sure. Will it now, counsel? Oh, no. I think it's fair to say, this does all sound like a rather far-fetched excuse by a desperate man. The blood on the skylight didn't exist, you say? But if yous will all cast your minds back, is it not true that the omnibus there has been in the courtroom the entire time? How could anyone possibly have put a smear of blood in it without the world and all his wife seeing? Isn't that right now, counsel? It's true. Omnibus has been in full view the entire time that the court has been in session. My learned friend. Here's to hearing your opinion on this matter, in your own words. As you wish. Could someone have tampered with the omnibus during this trial? If you're asking me, I think... As a defense lawyer, it's my job to advocate for the defendant as best I can, but still feel as though there's something even more important at stake here. There is no evidence to suggest that the defendant did as my learned friend suggests. However, in terms of having the opportunity to carry out the alleged tampering, there is one possibility. Oh! Good gracious! Explain yourself, counsel! Yes, there is. It seems my learned Nipponese friend has no intention of running from his deceit. Running from this deceit. Deceit? Sure everyone still remembers clearly the recess that we were forced to take as a result of the smoke grenade fired by the witness currently in the stand, Miss Gina Lestrade. Hereby call an emergency recess. Ensure the defendant is in custody and clear the courtroom. The courtroom was filled with smoke, and everyone was thrown into confusion. All of us were made to leave the chamber. In that brief interval, under the veil of smoke and in all the chaos, it could have been possible to steal inside the omnibus. Are you wise? Are you wise? What are you trying to pull? You rotten, feckless gouger. Feckless gouger? You're supposed to be defending me. 'Tis a wicked plot. 'Tis a plot to undermine me, so it is.
Objection!
Objection. Whatever you think this is, it changes nothing. The facts are the same. After this courtroom was evacuated earlier as a result of the smoke grenade, a number of inconsistencies materialized in relation to the omnibus. Inconsistencies such as, to start with, the storage compartment beneath the rear passenger seat. When the police investigated the omnibus, this compartment was full of the driver's items. Secondly, we have the smear of blood on the edge of the skylight. As I have said, that was not present at the start of the trial this morning. Fortunately, Lord Van Zeeks, no one is able to corroborate your claims. That's true. When the omnibus was first wheeled out, both the storage compartment and the skylight were shut. But I opened it. Accordingly, I'm afraid to say we cannot establish with any certainty if this evidence is the result of tampering or not. Indeed, my lord. No doubt there was not a single person who saw fit to verify such things. What do you think? Sorry? About the omnibus. Is there anything unusual about the omnibus? Well, let's have a look. Let's try looking at it. I kind of suspect Avenue. Okay, what was the number on this before? Was it 418? It might be a different coach altogether. Well, let's have a look inside one last time. Well, yeah, shut up. So here's the thing, I don't remember if that blood stain was there. But that sure looks like the same blood stain as before. Well, I can't say for sure that's the same pattern. Blood that's soaked onto the seat, the victims, obviously. Okay, let's look at the photograph. Okay, let's take a look at some of this. Like, look at the pattern. Okay, there's that pattern there. There's the writing right there. Okay, let's go back inside. I might be overthinking this, but I don't see anything amiss. That looks like it's pretty much the same. The thing is, I hate to do it, but I have to admit that there's something weird. My lord. Problem is, I don't know what I'm looking for. Yes, counsel. There is one further inconsistency. A mark that surely could not have been present at the start of the trial. What? What in the devil's name are you going to say now? If you dare to betray me, you little maggot, you bet... Objection. Silence, Mr. McGilded. This court awaits the defense's clarification. Ugh. This trial keeps swinging one way and then the other. I have no idea what's the truth and what's deception. What am I supposed to believe here? I shall ask you to elaborate, Counsel. What exactly is this alleged mark you claim appeared at some point during the trial? Okay, I kinda suspect I know what it is. And it's this down here. Because here's the thing. I didn't notice this before. And now it's here. Oh, and... They mentioned this, actually. They said that the prosecutor didn't mention this bloodstain before because it wasn't there. Got it. We consider that the victim fell through the skylight onto the floor of the cabin. You would certainly expect to find signs of blood where he landed. But as far as I recall, this bloodstain on the cabin floor was not there when the omnibus was first brought into the courtroom. This is a different bus. It's a different carriage. Yes, I do believe you're correct, Counsel. Well, this is playing havoc with my theory. Like, if it's not the skylight, is it the sky? I don't know. Did we switch cabins at some point? Or were there two carriages all along? Well said. Although, as advocate for the defense, one might say that was a very careless slip of the tongue. I believe that bloodstain on the floor is a decisive piece of evidence. But if the question is whether or not evidence is genuine or whether it was unlawfully fabricated by someone, I feel compelled to admit that there's at least a possibility that the evidence is fake. This trial is over. Mr. McGilded, I've done everything I possibly can to cooperate with the court, but it is all over now. But you're the defendant. 'Tis over, I tell you. Memory, recollection, what people think they saw, 'tis all nonsense. Facts are what counts, and the fact is, that bloodstain is there, now. Well, and over the course of this desperate trial, long and extremely drawn out as it has been, this good-for-nothing Reaper of the Bailey has failed to present any decisive evidence at all. I'm scandalized, so I am. I thought better of Lord Van Zeeks. Well, my lord, I must concur with the defendant. The unaffirmed recollections of an individual cannot stand as evidence. At this moment in time, the particular bloodstain in question is very much in existence. And in the absence of any credible method by which to prove its alleged previous non-existence, I regret to say that it would be improper for this trial to continue. Your lordship can't be serious. Lord Van Zeeks, what is your position? The prosecution, my lord, has no further witnesses or evidence to present. Very well. In that case, as I believe we have explored every possible avenue in this matter, I shall proceed to my adjudication. As a formality, I am, of course, obliged to confirm with the defense first. What formality? As things stand at the moment, it would seem that Mr. McGilded will be found not guilty. Yes. Which would mean we've won. Is that really the right outcome here? Is it really alright for the trial to come to an end now? With all these unexplained inconsistencies? Yes! You don't have to find the killer, you just have to get your guy ruled not guilty. Counsel for the defense. I know it doesn't seem right, but that's what your job is here first and foremost. Counsel for the defense, your closing statement, please. It's not your fault that somebody tampered with the evidence. The defense believes... God damn it. The defendant could be guilty, but I don't believe he is. I am here in this courtroom today to advocate for the defense of my client, Mr. McGilded. However, at this moment in time, I cannot, in all good conscience, attest fully to the defendant's innocence. What are you saying, man? Without any question, there is no conclusive evidence to prove that the defendant is guilty. However, there is also no conclusive evidence to prove that he is innocent. You don't have to prove that he's innocent. Good gracious me. Order! This is unprecedented behavior, counsel. A defense lawyer calling the accused's innocence into question. Are you of sound mind? Oh, 'twas a grand decision to appoint you as my lawyer, so it was. A grand decision. What? I must say I didn't expect quite such an exciting spectacle at the end there, but still. Here, have this for your troubles. Your job here's done, fella. Some fine work you done, so you have. Well, what do you mean? 'Tis just as the right honorable gentleman so succinctly put it afore. The trial can't go on anymore. And your closing statement there was, how did he put it now? Nothing more than a formality. Okay. But we still don't know what the hell happened. I don't know what to make of all this. Was the evidence we've seen genuine, or was it fake? His lordship would be fuming. Any unsightly rubbish should be disposed of promptly, as I said. The stinking rich are always guilty of something. You mark my words. I feel terribly ashamed that I ever doubted that lovely man who gave us the lovely park. Now that proceedings have unfolded in this way, I am compelled to declare a premature end to this trial. Furthermore, the court must accept the defendant's plea. I thank you kindly, my lord. I hereby pronounce the verdict of this court. Objection. But we still haven't determined if the bloodstain in the omnibus is genuine or not. We don't know if these witnesses are telling the truth or a pack of lies. We have no idea about the truth. Lord Van Zeeks, it's not your case, it's the prosecution's case. And if the prosecution's case falls apart, then you default to not guilty. That's how it works. This is absurd, even within the warped logic of Ace Attorney, my lord. The case made by the prosecution was flawed, plain and simple. If indeed the omnibus presented as evidence was tampered with, the prosecution is at fault for allowing such a disgrace, perversion of justice to take place. Yes! My sincerest apologies, my lord. Objection. But wait. When we were evacuated from the courtroom, Lord Van Zeeks ordered the evidence to be secured. I'm afraid the prosecution cannot shun responsibility in this matter. That's so unfair. The culpability of the defendant has not, at the present time, been established by this court. Consequently, the jury will not be required to proffer judgment. What? Well, Lord Van Zeeks, it's been a pleasure, so it has. And as for you, my dear fella, I couldn't have asked for a better defense. Do you mean to tell me this has all been a grand waste of time? 'Tis the law of the land, my good man. If you'd like to pursue this matter further, you can always go ahead and try to change the law. Magnus McGilded. Good grief. You've more to say, have you? Just one thing, a warning. This is far from over. This ain't over. Well, something to be looking for. Well, something to be looking forward to then. Wah! Ha 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 ha! I hereby pronounce the defendant, Mr. Magnus McGilded. Hold it! Not guilty? What? I don't think that was supposed to happen that way. It's an outrage. They should have examined the evidence more. What are you talking about? This man's been cleared. He's innocent. I think I just got a game over. There's no way. The courtroom in pandemonium for the second time that day. The judge delivered his verdict. My first ever trial in Great Britain came to an abrupt end, with the defendant being found not guilty. Ostensibly a victory for us. This doesn't seem right. There's something wrong here. That certainly was a long trial. Ah, yes, it was. Your first ever trial on foreign soil, and your first victory was a wonderful performance. Yeah, but there's a bunch of stuff that we never really found out what the hell happened. My heartfelt congratulations. And you, Mr. Sato, thank you for your assistance. I suppose we should be happy. The trouble is, we're still completely in the dark about what actually happened. Well, we didn't have enough time. But isn't it wrong? I mean, who was actually responsible for Mr. Mason's death? We don't even know that. The sole aim of the defense is to obtain a verdict that exonerates the defendant. Pretty much. You carried out your duty to perfection. Aye, that you did. I mean, I still don't think he did it. I think there's something else going on, but I think I don't know. This whole case is gonna come back. Mr. McGilded. And that girl is with him too. Well, it seems the stories are true. Oh, what stories? About the 6 enormous fireworks that do be letting off when there's a verdict of not guilty. I'm sure you must have seen them now. Spectacular, wouldn't you say? Yes, definitely. I'd heard it was a sight to behold, and to be sure it was. And I've you to thank, I suppose, for having an opportunity to see it. Wah ha 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 ha! Well, I don't know about that. I'm not sure I really did anything. What on earth are you saying, fella? How did I walk out of there a free man then? I don't think it was much thanks to me, as down to your planning. You're a straight-talking fella, aren't you? I say you had me astray there. You had me astray in the head there once or twice. But you're young and headstrong. As 'tis water under the bridge. Congratulations, Mr. McGilded, on having your name cleared. But nothing's resolved. There's only one thing that matters to me. Oh? They've all seen that I didn't do the odious and abstinent deed. My tongue is starting to get tired from doing this guy's voice. 'Tis grand, is it not? I suppose it is. Now the fine fellows of Scotland Yard can take matters in hand and sort out any wee details. They'll see it for what it is. They'll get to the truth. I have absolute faith in them, so I have, after all. I do be providing a good number of their wages with all the taxes I pay. Stop with the evil laugh. It's not that funny. So then, as we agreed aforehand, 1,000 guineas for your troubles, fella. Oh, no, I couldn't possibly accept that much. Be whist. You're a humble people, are you? You from the east. Well, if you insist. But have this still and all, you deserve a reward. Mr. Magnus McGilded. Everything is ready, sir. If you'd like to follow me into the courtroom. Into the courtroom? What's this, officer? 'Tis sooner than I was led to believe. I hope it's not inconvenient, sir. There were some changes to the schedule. Well, I must be making tracks now. 'Tis time for the inspection. Sorry, what inspection? They're going to examine the omnibus again, so I'm told. I asked if I could be present for it myself. They're going to examine it again? Now? Naturally. I'm under no obligation to take part in any more of this matter now. But as an upstanding member of London society, I do be doing me best to help where I can. 'Tis a gentleman's duty, so it is. So then, fare thee well. 'Twas an absolute pleasure meeting yous. Hope you have a whale of a time while you're studying here in Great Britain. No. Okay. Thank God. And there he goes, a free man. Oh, I forgot she was here, too. See, normally, in an Ace Attorney game, you usually end up finding the guilty party while the court case is going. Say, whereas I want to say, get a move on. She really does take forever to load that thing. Miss Lestrade, would you mind putting that thing down? You're a grown-up. Sorry. And I ate all grown-ups. Ah, there you are. And who are you? Naughty naughty running off like that. Is this some kind of a picnic? Who's this little girl now? And taking that with you as well. Wait, what? And taking that with you. Okay. I was looking forward to the trial run of my experimental smoke grenade launcher. Oh, do you want to play? You won't beat me. Excuse me, but who are you? Oh, good day to you. I'm the inventor, I suppose, of that machine. The inventor? Well, normally smoke grenades are so dull. Don't you agree? White, white, and more white. If you have to be shrouded in smoke, it could at least be a pretty color, I thought to myself. Do we have to be shrouded in smoke, though, at all? I just took my eyes off it for a moment whilst I was changing onto a different omnibus, and she pinched it. Luckily, I fitted it with a telegraphic beacon. What's it? What? No idea what this girl is talking about. Anyway, you're coming with me now. Back to my laboratory. What? What for? To apologize, of course, silly. To my technician. What? You mean, say sorry? You must say sorry when you've done something wrong. Surely an adult has told you that before. Don't call me Shirley. An adult? I don't listen to no adults. Come along then, follow me. Fine. Have it your way. Oh, good. You see, I knew you'd want to do the right thing in the end. I'm fairly sure that what she wants is not to get shot by that massive gun of yours. We'll be leaving now then. Bye-bye. I'm so sorry for all the fuss. No. She was a lively one. Who the hell was that? Well, do you think perhaps we ought to be on our way now, too? Yes, you're right, but... where to? Oh! We haven't had time to find a place to stay. No sooner had we arrived in London than we had to rush here. All our traveling cases are still with the bailiff. I was originally planning to spend today in search of lodgings, but at this late hour in the day, I'm afraid we may be out of luck. Don't worry though, I have a plan. If the worst comes to worst, I've heard of a lovely park where we could spend the night. Please tell me you're not thinking of McGilded Park. A lovely park. Tremendous. I know it may be a little chilly at this time of year, but your youthfulness will see us through. Our youthfulness will see us through. I'm not so sure about that. I think a midwinter London night will freeze a young person solid just as easily as an elderly one. Oh dear, that doesn't sound agreeable. Now I'm starting to regret turning Mr. McGilded down. That 1,000 guineas would have paid for a lovely warm room or mansion. Yeah, you dummy. And so, the trial to determine my worthiness for the study tour was over by the end of our first day in London. However, as we were soon to learn, there were more trying times ahead, just as the Reaper of the Bailey had warned. The case was far from over.
What's going on? Get the fire brigade! Water! Bring water, quick! What the? How did this happen?
I don't know, sir. By the time I got here, it was already engulfed.
No one was supposed to be allowed in here before we started investigating. No. Oh, good God. There's someone in there. This can't be.
Huh. Well, thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next episode.